In a minute, we'll start the live. I hope everything is okay with you. Okay, it's 8 p.m. in Brazil. Here it's 6 p.m., but in Brazil it's 8 p.m. and we're going to start our live today. Today we are on November 13th, 2024. The live having playful faith is fun. This is going to be a great move that we can make so that we can have a slightly better perception of life, a little more fun in things, not making life so tense, and having fun and making us feel human all the time, with few resources, we are going to try to do this. So, having playful faith is fun. Playful is something about playing, playing with faith, playing with beliefs. Not to be a belief, to have a belief. So having playful faith is not about having faith, it is about having faith. So we come to this good thing that we have to have. First, in order for us to have a general idea of what we are going to talk about, and this is always good, we have to have a vision of the whole of where we are talking about. And recently I told you, imagine the games of children aged 3 to 6. That is what we are doing. Imagine playing games and you are in a house, you are responsible for these children aged 3 to 6, and the children are playing a game. Before they start, they create a story, and these stories about playing and how to play and what is this, what is that, become a story that is a state, that is a faith, and they will play in this faith, in this state, and it gives a state of happiness. In this state, each child will involve all the others. If you notice that some children are being rejected, the cool thing is the people. How is it? Either everyone plays or we stop playing. That's how a state is. Either everyone gets along or we stop playing. But in your house, you are in charge of these children aged 3 to 5. In our state, who is in charge of our history? That's what we're going to see, and that's what we're going to play with you a little bit about how you can get along with your beliefs and figure these things out. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to try to do the following. We're going to try to explore five worlds. Five worlds. We're going to take a little dot very far away, a little dot that is planet Earth. Here is planet Earth, very far away. And from planet Earth, we make some beams, five beams, which is like this from a distance of 10 light years, for example. And then on the other side, from planet Earth, five little dots from five different planets. One planet is pure desert, another is very flooded, has a lot of water, another is very hot, another is very cold, another is who knows what. So five different planets, but all coming from planet Earth, so far away. But look, a distance of 10 light years to get to these planets. I don't think there are any planets that we can live in 10 light years, but man, it's a mental exercise that we're going to do. From planet Earth, you project these lines, you see a tiny, tiny angle, and you're already going to a planet that's just desert or that's just rain, just climate disasters. Another is just water. It's a small deviation in the launch of where you're going, and you've changed planets. It's like this. It's like this. When you started the egg, and from the egg made the zygote, and the zygote made it started the fetus and the fetus, the embryo and the fetus, the baby came out and the baby came out, the baby came out. It was you. At that moment, you were still mind, original, body, territory. At that moment, culture started to enter, belief started to enter. There was a small deviation from the line. The planet that you will arrive at 10 years of age is being changed direction with your belief that you are adopting, with the culture that you are entering. So it means that if you are in a Chinese, Japanese, Oriental, Indigenous, Yanomami, or Tupi Guarani culture, or in other times 1,000 years ago, for example, or Incas, or in so many cultures, whether in southern Mexico or in Mecca, each of the cultures, if you were born in those cultures and by the age of 10, you would already have a belief that you would see a different planet. 10 light years ago, no. Planet Earth is really different because your beliefs change the reality that you perceive. And that's where we are today. When you were little, a baby, you were the mind, the original mind, feeling the body and the position of the body in space, but you were also body territory, where what you perceived 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, what you perceived around you was you. In our culture, there is a basic belief right at the beginning of life: I, mine, yours. The self is a belief. There are cultures that do not have an I. There are cultures that do not have a self. This means that the belief in self can already take us to a different planet, to a reality that is not the true reality because it is a reality seen in a belief. There is a self, there is a you, there is a him, there is the other. No, it is all one thing. And it depends on your beliefs. You adopt these different things. So we are living with other people by our side, and these realities of other people can be totally different. What matters is that within the secular, democratic, lawful, and responsible state, we will follow some rules to follow the norms, but it is not an abstraction of belief because everyone has their own beliefs. Okay, let's go slowly because there's a lot of stuff today. But look, people, after they get started, have this Western belief mainly. And now that the internet has come along and the economy is the economy of attention, it's not the economy of resources anymore because on the internet, resources are infinite. So the resource that has a finite amount of time is your attention span. So the internet is going to seek your attention span. Okay, it was already looking for your attention span. And then what happens on the internet? But the Homo economicus is also going to seek your attention span by doing what you have to buy tomorrow. It's buying. I want to buy these shoes, this shirt, this car, this house. I want to go on this trip. I want to buy tomorrow. Look how interesting, right? And there your time is being lived there. Because capitalism wants to sell you tomorrow so that you lose today. You barely have today. Today lives for tomorrow, or sometimes achieving being and remembering the past. How it was, how it was, how it was. So go back to the past. Even going back to the past, let's talk about 10 years again, even more. There are people who spend 10, 20, 30, 40 years of their lives undergoing therapy for problems they had when they were 4 or 5 years old and spent 40 years of their lives. In other words, they stop living in the now, stop living in the here and now to project something into the past and fix the past. But then the past becomes 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Life ends and you run out of time trying to fix the past. So notice you have now. You have here. You have to live this moment. Don't waste yourself trying to buy the future. Don't waste yourself going back to the past. The past brought you here. And now is the time for you to change what you feel, to feel what you feel in this moment, not here, not now. Oh, but Jacques, look, I like things. The things I remember most about my life are when I was having fun, when I was passing the time. What's most on my mind are the moments when I was passing the time. Why do so many people want to pass the time? Why do many people find themselves between the past and the future? Is there a before and after in their lives? And is there before and after before and never now? Because you don't want to face life in the present, because you don't want to live in the present. So you sell the present for a belief in a future, in an afterlife, or in a tomorrow. You sell the future. If it's a tomorrow, you sell the future because you're going to travel to New York, wherever you want, or to the south of Brazil. You're going to sell your future. So you're going to do that. You're going to buy your future, and then you get lost in this now. This now is not being lived properly. And then you end up distracting yourself in life. Let's distract ourselves. Let's watch Netflix. Let's play a game. Let's make a bet. Let's play online. Let's see what's on social media. Look at the hate. Look at the hate there is. I want to see the world is going to burn. Look, you're trying to sell the now. Yes, because I believe that the world is beyond repair here. This world is lost. Look, you're selling the only resource you have, this planet, you, your body. Oh, but I don't believe in this body. This body is a prison. Look, you're lost. You're not valuing your body. You're denying your own body. And then you start to have a way to get the body, to pass the time. Dude, life is not going to pass. Life is going to end. So you have to understand this and value your now. But there is a little problem. And let's think about a little joke from 4 or 5 years old. If I take a group of people, let's take people, any person in Brazil or in all of Latin America, any person in all of Latin America, this person, let's assume that he or she is in a range of minimum financial income. He or she has a minimum financial income, okay? He or she is in the range from minimum to sufficient, okay? No more than sufficient. People who have more than 10 million reais are usually harming the planet more than helping, okay? Really, okay? You have a range of a minimum to survive and a sufficient amount that is there. 2 million, maybe, 1 million, no. But 10 million is an exaggeration, and above, these people shouldn't be taxed anymore. But come on, you are in this range, even in this range where you are comfortable with your rent, you have your own house, you are comfortable because your salary or your little business is yielding well, it's nice, but you don't have emotional fluctuations. Life is not just about food, drink, shelter, health, and education. It's not just that. I have to have emotions. I have to have take risks. Come on, come on. The game in the living room goes back to playing. 4 or 5 year olds are there in the living room, the children playing. They start playing something that doesn't give them any emotion, and everyone gets carried away. It's over. There's no more playing. Because in life and in playing, we need emotions. In playing, we tell a story. In the story, the state is born. That needs to have emotions. You are part of the history of the Brazilian state or the state of a Latin American, American, or European country, whatever the state you are in. You are part of that history, but you also tell your story. You also have your micro welfare state. Tell your story. The state is the story you tell to live. It is a story. And the state that involves the Brazilian state, for example, the history is our history, our state of the state of history, the norms and rules, okay? But you in your life too have your norms and rules, okay? And it is very important that we fluctuate in our emotions. When the state leaves even the citizen, by the way, with Bolsa Familia or with aid, I don't know what, but this citizen does not have an emotional fluctuation, a gamble. He will fall for games, bets, lies. He will follow lies. Because there is an emotion, it is a lie, it is true. And this fluctuates the emotion. We have to feel all the variable emotions. It is important to get emotional. Just like children playing, they get emotional at 4, 5 years old, but their beliefs are simpler. They are believing in the stories they have just invented. They just made up a little story to play with. They are playing with that story, yes, but it fluctuates, loses, wins, goes, and this fluctuation is life. It is the emotional fluctuation within your story, within your state. So you have to remember a lot that sometimes when we are now in this internet business, sometimes what you have to do, what the group does is distract yourself so that time passes, and you run away from the responsibility of living in the here and now. You always want to project a better life tomorrow or talk about the life that was better before. Oh, it was like that with our parents, with our grandparents. Oh, it will be like that in 1,000 years in I don't know what time, do you understand? And never in the present. So, whoever doesn't want to live in the present is being irresponsible with themselves and with the people around them. This is irresponsibility. How can you get out of this? You need to go back to being what? Being what you want? No, go back to being what you are. Go back to being what you are before the perception of self. Before the perception of the ego, returning to what it is before the perception of the ego is a path. How to return to being before the perception of the ego. What an interesting thing, right? Yes, if you feel deeply introception, which is your deep feeling and your position in space, you are feeling in a Damasian state of mind, in a state of enjoyment. You can move in this mind. Look, there is no culture, no belief, and no self. The deep sense in your position in space. So you are now returning to being. Do you understand? And now returning to being, and you can seek a belief, seek a playful faith, seek to believe in something that some religion believes in. For example, there is a god called Tupa. If I were to say it like this, in the south of Brazil, in South America, the South before 1500 believed more in Tupa. If you say it like this, oh, but what about the Coliseras of the Andes? There it was Pachamama. Pachamama is a type of religious entity, a religious divinity where everything is part of everything. So you are like a flower of Pachamama, a continuation of Pachamama. And then there in the Amazon with Amandos and Anomanes, so they are beliefs. If you want to have the Christian belief, that's fine. If you want the Buddhist belief, that's fine. If you want the spiritualist belief, that's fine. But you, in being without believing, choose a belief, you choose a faith, playful. To play with it, to enjoy it, to do something, something that adds value to your life. How could we do this? I sent you an email and sent you a bunch of items. It's a pain to read all these items because it's tiring to read them. I'm going to read them now so we can talk a little more. First, recognition and disidentification with beliefs. You will recognize that you are what you are, and now you recognize yourself without a belief. There are people who ask who you are. Oh, I'm a Buddhist. Calm down, you are, and believe in that. You are not what you believe. So you have to recognize who you are before a belief, and what you are before a belief is your meaning and your position in space. And then you have a disidentification with your beliefs. Oh, I'm from this political party. Calm down, man. First here, and now you see an ideology, a belief. And then I always told you about Ian Ramey, which is to imitate being in order to become a being. So the first thing the baby does, he starts to imitate his parents, then he imitates the parents, the food, the culture, the words, the language, the movements, the motor skills. He will imitate some beliefs too. He will develop a faith based on the imitation of beliefs. He will develop faith, but then he will use faith as a tool. That's what I'm saying. Recognition and disidentification from your beliefs and faith. Are you going to throw beliefs and faith away? No. Put it in your toolbox. You will use your belief and faith at different times to feel different things to make that emotional fluctuation that I just mentioned. If you stay in that range without emotional fluctuation, without believing in anything, life becomes boring. So now you have beliefs, many beliefs, many, including the belief of being an atheist. Look, it's a belief, have it too. At some point, use it, at another time, use another. So you use the tools of belief and faith. Another thing, cultivation of the original mind. Cultivating the original mind is fantastic. Every time before you go to sleep, try to do some movements of enjoyment, of meditation, mainly meditation. This is what I call enjoyment as movement, okay? It's a movement in which you can do a slow movement. It's crying from this movement, a slow movement, but your movement of expansion, of approaching, and try to do this movement repeated several times. Once I went to therapy, and during the therapist said, Jackson, do a movement for us because we need something new. I said, okay. So I called everyone and said, guys, let's go. Imagine a movie, an idea, something that happened to you or a friend, or something that you imagine, or something that you dream. Imagine a little trailer, a little movie of it. You're walking and picking a flower, you're walking, climbing a tree, or you're, I don't know, being attacked by someone or suffering a trauma that you've had. Imagine your trauma then. Imagine that moment. And then you make the movement, go to it and come back. Go and come back, making the movement that you perceive to be at that moment. And then you make the movement once, twice, go and come back, go and come back, go and come back, go and come back. When you get to the 10th time, you stop. And you feel the fruition because it is a memory and a movement. It is pulling a deep meaning in you, extremely deep. It is pulling the mind from that moment, from that movement, from those ideas, from those abstractions. So the cultivation of the original mind is this. Because every time the mind starts to believe, even if it is just a few words, it gives a meaning to the body. And when the meaning changes, the mind changes. It is the mind changes because the mind is the feeling and position in space. If I change the position of the body in space, the mind changes. If I change the feeling, the mind changes. So the mind is changing all the time. But if I use a belief, the belief locks in a change of the mind to a side that is not me. It is a culture with this belief. That is why you have to know how to return to the self, to the original mind. Third, creative exploration of beliefs using them as cultural toys. Remember what I said? You're in the world here. 10 light years away, 5 different planets appear. You may be looking at the reality of planet Earth saying there is no climate emergency. And the other person is looking, man, you are in a belief. This belief is a belief used more by politicians. This belief is used more by those who are destroying nature and making money. It is used more by predators, predatory explorers. They will destroy nature and tell you the following: look, it has nothing to do with it. This is the Earth's cycle. It will really warm up. And it is a lie. Science is already showing this, but it is a belief. So you will know that, man. Trust your belief that there is nothing. Oh, this global warming does not exist. Change. Now it does. Change. Now we need a being that we are together with nature. Change. Now you will change your beliefs and use your critical sense to analyze according to the belief you have. Because when you change your belief, the world changes. The world changes, the planet changes, only by changing your belief. Because you are the creator of your reality, it always will be, but the belief that modulates it. And sometimes I get so upset about the belief of the person. The belief is not their own. It is the pastors, the priests, the leaders, or the politicians who invents beliefs. Or is it an internet robot that put in the group what you are adapting to, and then it becomes the belief because the internet robot does data mining and sees that your data shows that if it told you the story, you would fall. That's it. Attention span captured by this individual who thinks he's intelligent, who thinks he has insight into the world, and then the attention span is kidnapped. It makes money off of him. It makes money off of him. The individual has become a commodity and the attention span slips away. So change the belief, change the belief. So if a robot is looking for you in this belief, X, B, whatever, you say, oh, calm down. The robot is silly. It thinks I believe the same thing all the time. I change my belief. Another point, which is the fourth, self-observation and metacognition. Self-observation is, man, I'm believing this, I'm doing this, but my stomach hurts, my back hurts, I'm getting stressed, my sleep isn't getting very good. And metacognition, why am I thinking this and why am I believing that? Isn't it time to get back to the original mind? Because otherwise I'm attached to being what I believe. She has a belief, and I cling to being her. I cling to being her. I do. I am not Jackson. I am sure that I am already for real. I do not really believe that I am Jackson. No, it is not there. These are names that are given to people. Oh, I am male. I am female. I just do not know. Everything is content. Everything changes. Everything is flexible. Man, woman, male, more testosterone, less testosterone. How absurd. Animal, man, but there are other mammals. There are other beings. There are plants. It is all an intense flow of life, so you have to have this observation and this metacognition. What is happening? Why are my practical attitudes deviating so much from the collective well-being? Why am I now distorting and having a lot of enemy? If we are on the same planet together, what is this story about the enemy? Where did this story come from? The enemy, what is this? Is it being fed by a little robot from the internet? Then you will have self-observation and metacognition. You rebuild yourself. You change your beliefs. Keep changing your beliefs. Yours. 5. Embodiment of a playful faith. So when you have the embodiment of a playful faith, you will play a faith. Playing a faith is a fantastic thing. Fantastic. Those people who do floor exercises, they do an exercise, repeat, repeat, repeat. So it becomes a process of imitation, repetition, belief, and belief that you can do it, belief that you can do it and fail, but you try again and you succeed. And suddenly you have faith. In faith, high performance, all faith that you are going to do something. If you have already developed faith, you have high performance. But once you have finished that high performance of your floor exercise or of doing this or that, you do not need to carry that faith to do something else, to eat, drink, walk. No, it was for that doing. Faith is restricted to doing, to acting, which requires that faith. Faith is not to be lived at all times. Faith is to be lived in the moment where it adds value. Each moment is a moment of faith. Now is the time for me to make my lunch, my dinner. I have faith that I will make a good lunch, a good dinner, and go ahead and do it. Now is the time to walk. I have faith that I will walk well, that I will do a good. And then you use this faith. You use faith for the moment, for an action, not for being. Did you notice? And that's what I'm proposing. The playful faith is this. It's using the tools of faith. Let's go 6. Maintaining critical sense. When we lose our critical sense, what happens is that I can become bored, fall into gambling, games, addictions, drugs, because I'm going to lose. I'm going to try not to be here and not feel the here, because sometimes my chest hurts a little, my stomach hurts a little, or my shoulder is a little tense. Then I don't want to live here, so I'll watch a movie, then I'll take some drugs, then I'll keep remembering the past. No, if you feel this and you stop doing this, and if you breathe this and you keep feeling this pain that you are here and now, in 40 minutes it will go away, unless you create a pathology. If you don't have a pathology, the pain of feeling goes away if you are not remembering your belief, if you are not putting the memory of this pain in. The pain already existed because it happened at work, because you remembered something. You go back to your original mind. The original mind is feeling and position in space. It hurts here. I'm going to move and simulate breathing. I'm going to simulate a movement without thinking about anything, just feeling the body and the position of the body in space. Turn your head from one side to the other, balance on one leg with the other leg, turn that way, turn for 40 minutes. Then your pain will go away. It will turn into a sneeze. It will turn into a scream. It will turn into a stomach ache. It will turn into something, but it will go away. By relieving this pain with other things, or by playing games, or by Netflix, or by drugs, or by eating too much or too little, I don't know, because you are now working on feeling, currently working to help with your pain, okay? When we run away from the now And here, what's going on in your head? We want two things: to pass the time. Why do I want to pass the time? Because I don't want to face the reality of my feelings. I want to run away from myself. So I'm going to have fun. I'm going to spend time. I want to run away from myself. I don't want to create the concepts of thinking of my beliefs. No, I want to run away from myself. Another thing, when I want to get out of here, I want to discuss the effects and not the causes. Let's go. Go back to that time when you were on the little planet and projected that line 10 light years away and five other planets appeared. What is the way you see the planet when you start discussing effects? Totally complicated, totally complicated. The exploration of human history began in a very big way. Humans, in some way, had a tribe. They got some people together. They made a story. From that story, they made the executive part of the story. From the executive part of the story, they made the history of money. From the part of the money, they made interest. But the people who benefited from the interest, from the money, are retelling the story. And we are oppressed by people who are rentiers and they want to retell the story, and they are exploiters, predators who make a lot of money and retell history. You have to dismantle that. Democracy is a very complex thing. And in this complexity, which I really believe, we have to ensure that real information reaches people and that they are able to process real information in order to have a sense of reality. If they don't have an educational process, they won't properly perceive reality. If they don't have an educational process, any lie will get through. Ah, those who earn money from income, those who are predatory exploiters, don't want education to be in the hands of the state, and they don't want people to have a critical sense. They want more labor to appear, to deforest more, produce more, to earn more. The planet is drying up. The planet is facing a climate emergency, and we are leaving it in the hands of those who control the media. But those who control the media are making money from the finances. They are winning. Belief. Okay, right now history is being controlled because it's gaining a lot, okay? But you control your life with your belief. You can play with this fun and playful faith of ours. Exchange. Oh, is it money that rules now? It's not. Okay, but let's pretend it is. That's why they're controlling it. Yes, but money couldn't be in charge. With a simple retail CDVC, you break the system of stealing from the state. Do you understand? So it's important for you to open your concept and get away from these things. Very emotional and very deceitful on both sides, and always with the same faith. Change faith, because if you change faith, you angle a different line, so you arrive at a different reality in your life, seeing a different planet, changing beliefs, changing faith, playful faith. With playful faith, you can navigate the complexities of human beliefs with grace and lightness. You play with one faith and another faith. You just What you believe, you only perceive what is in your beliefs. Taking your beliefs away, returning to the deep and original meaning, and creating a battery of other beliefs is essential for you to perceive the new world that is now happening, but that you do not see and do not perceive because your beliefs block your vision, and mine too, okay? And mine too, guys. That's what I wanted to leave with you this week. See you next Wednesday.